I grounded the draft in real Asclepius sanctuaries, especially Epidaurus and the ancient practice of incubation, where visitors slept in sacred spaces hoping for a healing dream. Epidaurus is recognized by UNESCO as a major testimony to ancient healing cults, and the National Archaeological Museum describes the ritual pattern of purification, prayer, sacrifice, and sleep in the Abaton. Content reference OSITE 0 index equals 0. Writing variant equals document ID equals 48,291. Title: The Sleep Temples of Ancient Greece, where people went to dream. Estimated duration: approximately 1 hour for slow sleep. Narration: short video description. Tonight, drift softly into the ancient Greek world of sacred sleep, quiet sanctuaries, and healing dreams. Journey through the peaceful sleep temples of Asclepius, where travelers came by moonlight, washed in clear water, offered prayers, and rested beneath stone roofs, hoping that a divine dream would bring comfort, wisdom, or healing. A calm ancient history sleep story from Slumber scrolls. Chapters 1. A quiet walk into the Greek night 2. The ancient belief in meaningful dreams 3. Asclepius, the gentle god of healing 4. The road to Epidaurus 5. Purification, prayer, and preparation 6. The Abaton sleeping in the sacred place 7. Dreams at dawn 8. Other sleep temples of the Greek world 9. Ancient wisdom of rest and healing 10. Fading back into the nightful script, welcome, dear listener, to Slumber Scrolls. Tonight we will walk softly into the ancient Greek night. Not into the noise of a marketplace. Not into the bright heat of an afternoon city. Not into the shouting of assemblies, or the ringing of tools, or the footsteps of soldiers on stone. Tonight we go somewhere quieter. We follow a road beneath the stars. The air is warm but not heavy. A soft wind moves through olive leaves. Somewhere in the distance, water touches stone. A lamp burns low in a small clay bowl, and its golden flame trembles gently, as if breathing with the night. Ahead of us, beyond the dark outline of cypress trees, there is a sanctuary. A place of sleep. A place of dreams. A place where, long ago, people came when ordinary answers were not enough. In ancient Greece, there were temples where people went not only to pray, but to sleep. They came from villages, islands, farms, ports, and cities. They came slowly, often after long journeys. They carried small offerings. They washed themselves in sacred water. They whispered prayers. And when the night grew deep, they lay down in a holy sleeping place, hoping that a god might visit them in a dream. These were the healing sanctuaries of Asclepius. To the Greeks, Asclepius was the divine healer. A god connected with medicine, comfort, recovery, and the mysterious wisdom of the body. His temples were called Asclepia. And in these places, the boundary between rest and healing, between sleep and guidance, became soft and thin. Tonight, we will visit these sleep temples together. We will move slowly without hurry. We will pass through stone gateways and quiet courtyards. We will hear the murmur of fountains. We will imagine the pale columns of Epidaurus under moonlight. We will walk among lamps, offerings, herbs, sleeping mats, woolen blankets, and gentle prayers carried upward into the dark. And as we walk, you do not need to remember every name. You do not need to hold tightly to every place. You may simply listen. Let the ancient world become soft around you. Let the night open. Let the road unfold. And let the story carry you, little by little, toward rest. In the ancient Greek world, dreams were not always seen as random things. They could be strange, yes. They could be confusing. They could arrive like mist, with images that shifted and faded before morning. But to many Greeks, dreams could also hold meaning. A dream might be a message, a warning, a memory, a sign from a god. a whisper from beyond ordinary waking thought. The Greeks lived in a world where the visible and invisible touched often. A spring might belong to a nymph. A grove might be sacred to a goddess. A mountain peak might be close to the sky gods. A crossroads might have its own small altar, its own silent presence. The world was alive with layers of meaning. So sleep, too, had a sacred side. When the eyes closed, the soul seemed to travel inward, or perhaps outward. In sleep, a person might see what waking life could not show. They might meet someone lost to memory. They might hear a voice. They might receive advice. They might awaken with a feeling that something had shifted inside them. Ancient writers spoke often of dreams. Some dreams were thought to come from the gods. Some were thought to rise from daily worries. Some were dismissed as empty. Others were treasured. But in the sanctuaries of Asclepius, the dream became part of healing. A person did not simply wait for sleep by chance. They prepared for it. They entered a special place. They purified themselves. They prayed with intention. They offered something to the god. They lay down in a sacred building, surrounded by the hush of the temple. And there, in the deep hours, they hoped to receive a dream. This practice was called incubation or encomesis. It meant sleeping in a holy place for a sacred purpose. The word itself feels restful, like lying down beneath a roof while the night gathers around you. To incubate a dream was to wait gently, to become still, to let the body rest while the mind opened to a quieter kind of listening. The person who came to the temple might have been seeking healing from pain, or comfort during uncertainty, or relief from fear, or guidance when no clear path could be seen. They did not arrive at the sanctuary expecting entertainment. They arrived with humility. They came to sleep, and in sleep they hoped to be met. The god most closely connected with these sleep temples was Asclepius. In art, he is often shown as a calm, bearded figure leaning on a staff. Around the staff coils a serpent, a symbol that became deeply tied to healing. The serpent in the ancient imagination was not only something to fear. It could also suggest renewal because it shed its skin and emerged again. It moved close to the earth, near hidden springs and cool stones. It belonged to the quiet places beneath the surface of things. Asclepius was said to be the son of Apollo, the bright god of music, prophecy, light, and healing. But Asclepius was gentler, closer to the patient, closer to the bedside. He was not a distant, thunderous god. He was a healer who came near. Around him gathered a family of healing figures. Hygeia, whose name is connected with health. Panacea, associated with remedy. Iaso, connected with recovery. Aciso, with the process of healing. Their names themselves sound like small blessings. In the Greek world, healing was not separated into neat boxes. The body, the mind, the household, the gods, the seasons, the waters, the habits of daily life, all of these belong together. A person might seek help from a physician. They might drink from a spring. They might bathe. They might rest. They might make an offering. They might ask the god for guidance. They might change their diet. They might take more exercise. They might listen to a dream. This does not mean that ancient healing was always simple or easy. But in the sleep temples, there was a strong belief that rest could reveal something. The body knew things. The soul knew things. The gods knew things. And in sleep, perhaps all three could speak. Imagine now a traveler approaching the sanctuary of Epidaurus. The day has been long. The road has wound through the Peloponnese, through hills and valleys, past olive groves and pale stones warmed by the sun. By evening, the light turns honey-colored. The cicadas quiet little by little. The world exhales. Epidaurus lies in a peaceful landscape, away from the rush of a great city. It is not built for noise. It is built for arrival. A traveler might first see the sanctuary as a group of shapes among trees. Columns, roofs, altars, walkways. A theater set into the slope nearby, famous even now for its harmony. Guest buildings where visitors could stay. Sacred spaces where rituals were performed. Water places for washing and cleansing. And somewhere within the holy area, the Abaton, the place where suppliants would sleep. The word Abaton means a place not entered casually. It was set apart. Not everyone simply wandered in. The sleeper entered after preparation, after ritual, after becoming ready. At twilight, the sanctuary would feel different from the open road. The stones would begin to cool. Footsteps would sound softer. Lamps would be lit. Priests and attendants would move quietly through the sacred area. Some visitors might speak in low voices. Others might sit alone. Perhaps one person had come from Athens, another from a nearby farm, another from an island still carrying the salt smell of the sea in their cloak. Another had traveled for many days with family beside them. Each carried a private hope. Ancient sanctuaries were public places, but the reasons people brought with them were deeply personal. One person might hope to sleep without pain. Another might hope to understand a troubling dream. Another might be grateful for healing already received. Another might simply want to place their worry into the hands of a god. And all around them the night slowly settled. The temple did not promise the speed of modern life. It did not rush anyone. First came preparation. The visitor washed. Water mattered deeply in Greek sacred life. Before prayer, before sacrifice, before entering certain holy places, one cleansed the hands, the body, or both. Water marked a change. It said softly, you are leaving ordinary dust behind. You are stepping into sacred space. Perhaps the traveler bent near a spring or basin. Perhaps the water was cool from the earth. Perhaps it touched the wrists, the face, the back of the neck. The body, tired from the road, received the water as a quiet kindness. Then came offerings. An offering did not always have to be grand. The ancient world had room for many kinds of gifts. A small cake, a little incense, a garland, a coin, a clay figure, a written thanks, a vow to return. An animal sacrifice might be made by those with means, according to the customs of the place. But in this sleep story, we pass gently over the altar and remain with the quieter gestures. A hand releases incense onto coals. Fragrant smoke rises. It curls upward in the evening air, blue and pale, carrying prayer with it. The person speaks to Asclepius. Not loudly. There is no need for loudness here. A prayer may be almost a whisper. Great Healer, receive me. Let me rest. Let me understand. Let the dream come gently. The sanctuary is not only stone. It is rhythm. Wash, offer, pray, wait, lie down, sleep. The mind, which has been restless, begins to follow this rhythm. The body, which has carried worry, begins to unclench. Even before the dream, there is already a kind of healing in the slowing down. In our own lives, too, there is something ancient in preparation for sleep. Closing a door, dimming a light, washing the face, setting aside the day, letting the room become simple. The Greeks made this preparation sacred. They gave the night a doorway, and through that doorway the sleeper entered. Now imagine the Abaton at Epidaurus. It may have been a long stoa-like building, a sheltered place with columns and shadowed spaces where those seeking healing could rest through the night. The stone holds the warmth of the day for a little while, then slowly releases it. The air smells of oil lamps, clean wool, dust, and faint incense. People lie on couches, pallets, or skins, depending on the sanctuary and its customs. The arrangement is simple. A body lies down. A cloak is folded. A blanket is drawn close. A prayer is repeated one last time. Above, the roof is dark. Beyond the columns, the stars are clear. Somewhere a lamp flickers. Somewhere water murmurs. In the sacred stories of Asclepius, gentle animals belong to the sanctuary too. The serpent was his sign. Dogs were also connected with the healing god in some places. To ancient visitors, these creatures were part of the holy atmosphere, reminders that healing came from the earth as well as from the heavens. But tonight all is calm. Nothing startles. Nothing disturbs. The sanctuary breathes slowly. One by one, the sleepers drift. A man who has walked too far lets his hands loosen. A woman who has worried for many nights feels the stone floor steady beneath her. An old traveler watches the lamp flame blur. A young person listens to the breathing of others and feels less alone. The Abaton is a room of hopes, but also a room of surrender. Because no one can force a dream. No one can command sleep to bring an answer. The sleeper can only prepare, ask, and let go. This is part of the wisdom of the sleep temple. There is effort before sleep. There is intention. There is cleansing. There is prayer. But at the final moment, there is release. The body cannot be argued into healing. The soul cannot be hurried into peace. The dream cannot be dragged from the dark. It must arrive when it arrives. So the sleeper lies still. The night deepens. The sanctuary grows quiet. And somewhere between waking and dreaming, the ancient world softens. In that in-between state, sounds change. The fountain no longer sounds like water only. It becomes a voice without words. The wind in the trees becomes a long breath. The stone columns become tall, pale guardians. The darkness beyond the lamps becomes gentle, not empty. Perhaps the sleeper dreams of a figure approaching. Not in thunder, not with brightness that hurts the eyes, but calmly, a healer with a staff, a hand raised in reassurance, a presence that says, "Rest now." Perhaps the dream gives simple advice. Bathe in the morning. Walk in the sun. Eat lightly. Return home with a quieter heart. Offer thanks. Speak kindly to the body. Do not carry every worry alone. Some ancient dream accounts are wondrous and strange. Some are symbolic. Some are direct. Some speak of the god performing healing in the dream itself. Others describe instructions given to the sleeper. But for our night, we let the dream remain soft. We do not need to see too clearly. We only need the failing of being met, The feeling that the night is not empty. The feeling that rest itself can be a threshold. The sleeper turns slightly beneath the cloak. Breath deepens. The lamp burns lower. The stars move slowly above the sanctuary. In the distance, beyond the sacred buildings, the dark hills of Epidaurus hold the valley like cupped hands. And the dream continues. Morning in a Greek sanctuary arrives gently. Before the sun is high, the first birds call from the trees. The air is cool. The lamps have burned down. A thin silver light touches the columns. The sleepers begin to stir. Some wake slowly with no memory of a dream. Some wake with only a color, a shape, a word, a feeling. Some wake certain that they have seen Asclepius. Some wake peaceful even if they do not know why. In the morning, the dream is shared. A priest, attendant, or temple helper may listen. The dream may be interpreted. A practical instruction may be given. Perhaps the person is told to bathe again. Perhaps to exercise. Perhaps to rest more. Perhaps to make an offering of thanks. Perhaps to follow a simple treatment. In the Greek healing sanctuary, sacred dream and practical care could stand side by side. This is one of the most fascinating things about these places. They were not only dream chambers. They were whole healing landscapes. At Epidaurus, there were buildings for visitors. There were places for ritual. There were water systems. There were areas connected with exercise, performance, and communal life. The theater itself reminds us that healing was not always imagined as medicine alone. Beauty, order, music, movement, rest, purification, and divine presence all belong to the wider atmosphere of care. To enter such a sanctuary was to step into a world designed to change one's state of being. A tired traveler arrived dusty from the road. They washed, they prayed, they slept, they dreamed, they woke, they listened, they gave thanks. They returned home altered, perhaps slightly, perhaps deeply. Even if no miracle occurred, the journey itself had meaning. The sanctuary gave shape to hope. It gave worry somewhere to go. It gave the body permission to lie down. In the morning, those who believed they had been healed might leave offerings behind. Some sanctuaries displayed records of cures. Inscriptions told stories of people who came seeking help and received it. To later visitors, these records must have felt powerful. They were not just stone words. They were reminders that others had come before, had slept, had dreamed, had gone home changed. Imagine a person reading such inscriptions in the morning light. Names carved into stone. Stories of gratitude. Evidence to the believer that the God was kind. That help could arrive. That the night could answer. The stone itself becomes part of the sanctuary's voice. It says softly, "You are not the first to come here. Others have been afraid. Others have hoped. Others have rested. Others have dreamed. And now it is your turn to breathe." Epidaurus was the most famous of these places, but it was not alone. Across the Greek world, Asclepius had sanctuaries. There was a healing sanctuary on the island of Kos, a place later connected in memory with Hippocrates, the famous physician whose name became tied to medical tradition. Kos was an island of sea air, terraces, and open views. A person arriving there might have approached by boat, watching the shoreline become clearer under the sun. There was an Asclepian in Athens, near the slope of the Acropolis. Imagine that contrast: above the great sacred rock, temples shining in daylight, below a healing place where Athenians could seek care, prayer, and rest. There were sanctuaries in Corinth, in Pergamum, and in many other places across the Greek and later Roman world. Each sanctuary had its own local character. Some were grand, some were modest, some were surrounded by trees, some looked toward the sea, some were near springs or hills. Some grew over time into large complexes of buildings, while others remained simpler. But the heart of the practice was similar. The visitor came with night. The visitor prepared. The visitor entered sacred sleep. The visitor listened to the dream. This is why these places feel so powerful even now. They remind us that human beings have always brought their questions to the night. Long before electric lights, long before hospital corridors, long before modern sleep advice, people were already asking, how do I rest? How do I heal? What is my body trying to say? What should I do with my fear? Where can I place my hope? The ancient Greek answer was not one answer. It was a path. Walk to the sanctuary. Wash in the water. Offer what you can. Speak honestly. Lie down. Let sleep come. Receive what arrives. Wake gently. Give thanks. There is something deeply calming in that sequence. It does not demand perfection. It does not demand that the sleeper solve everything before nightfall. It simply says, prepare, then surrender. And perhaps in a quiet way, that is still wisdom. Because sleep cannot be conquered. It can only be welcomed. A person can make the room darker. They can soften the body. They can quiet the breath. They can lay down the worries of the day one by one. But then, like the ancient visitor in the Abaton, they must allow. Allow the mind to drift. Allow thoughts to loosen. Allow the edges of the self to soften. The Greeks gave this allowing a sacred home. They built columns around it. They placed it in a valley. They surrounded it with rituals and stories. They made sleep part of a conversation with the divine. Let us return now to Epidaurus as the day passes again into evening. The morning visitors have walked through the sanctuary. Some have given thanks. Some have asked questions. Some have sat beneath trees thinking about their dreams. By afternoon, the sun warms the stones. The theater glows pale against the hillside. The sanctuary paths fill with quiet movement. A family arrives from far away. A priest tends the altar. A traveler rests in the shade. A small group speaks softly near a fountain. A person who slept in the Abaton the night before sits alone, holding the memory of a dream like a fragile cup. There is no rush. Ancient sacred time is slower than ordinary time. The sanctuary does not measure the day only by tasks. It measures it by light. The gold of morning. The white brightness of noon. The amber of evening. The blue of dusk. The black velvet of night. As sunset comes, the valley changes again. The air cools. Shadows lengthen. The columns become silhouettes. Birds settle in the trees. The first stars appear. For those preparing to sleep in the sacred place, the world seems to narrow and deepen. They are not thinking of politics. They are not thinking of trade. They are not thinking of the busy arguments of the city. They are thinking of one thing. Tonight I will sleep here. Tonight I will ask. Tonight perhaps I will dream. A person washes again. Water over hands. Water over brow. The day falls away. A prayer is spoken. Asclepius, gentle healer, be near. Hygeia, bring balance. Panacea, bring remedy. Let the body rest. Let the mind become clear. Let the night be kind. The incense rises. The smoke disappears into darkening air. And then the sleeper enters the Abaton. Inside, the space is dim. The body knows what to do. Kneel. Unfold the blanket. Lie down. Turn toward comfort. Listen. There are other sleepers nearby, but the silence is shared. No one is alone, and yet each person has their own inner road to walk. Outside, the sanctuary settles. The lamps burn. The trees murmur. The old stones hold their memories. And in the quiet, the temple becomes almost like a ship. A ship of sleep carrying many souls across the dark water of night. The Greeks had many words and stories for the powers connected with sleep and dreams. Hypnos was sleep itself, often imagined as gentle and powerful. Oneros, or the dreams, could pass through the night carrying images to mortals. Nyx's night was ancient and deep. In myth, sleep was not weakness. It was a force. Even the strongest had to sleep. Even kings closed their eyes. Even heroes dreamed. Even the gods in stories could be touched by sleep's soft hand. This gave sleep a kind of dignity. To sleep was not to do nothing. It was to enter another kind of experience. The body repaired itself. The mind wandered. The soul listened. For the visitors of Asclepius, sleep became a sacred meeting ground. In waking life, a person might feel separate from the divine. But in dream, perhaps the god could come close. Perhaps the god could speak in symbols the waking mind would not resist. Perhaps the body could express its need through image rather than argument. A dream of clear water. A dream of a path. A dream of a hand. A dream of sunlight entering a room. A dream of a serpent shedding its skin beside a spring. A dream of a calm voice saying, "Enough now, rest." Not every dream needed to be dramatic. Some dreams heal by being simple. Some dreams do not answer the question we asked. They answer the question beneath it. The ancient visitor might come asking, "How do I become well?" But the dream might answer, "You are tired." Or "Forgive yourself." Or "Return to balance." Or "Listen to the quiet thing you already know." This is why sleep temples belong so naturally to a calm story. They are not about conquest. They are about receptivity. They are not about forcing the world to change. They are about entering stillness and allowing meaning to rise. The sanctuary is a vessel. The night is a teacher. The dream is a small lamp. And the sleeper is both patient and pilgrim. Let us imagine one such pilgrim without giving them a famous name. They are simply a traveler. They have come to Epidaurus at the end of summer, when the hills are dry and the evenings are soft. They have walked for several days. Their sandals are dusty. Their cloak is faded. They carry a small offering wrapped in cloth. They are not wealthy. They are not powerful. They are one of many ordinary people whose lives rarely enter history. But tonight in the sanctuary, their hope matters. They wash at the water place. They wait in line quietly. They see others ahead of them, an old man leaning on a stick, a mother with tired eyes, a young sailor, a farmer, a woman carrying a small basket of offerings. The traveler understands that everyone here has brought a burden. This understanding is itself a comfort. Later, after prayer, the traveler enters the sleeping place. They lie down near a column where they can see a little of the night sky beyond the edge of the roof. At first, their mind is busy. They remember the road. They remember home. They wonder if the God will come. They wonder if they have prayed correctly. They wonder what kind of dream they are supposed to have. But the sanctuary does not answer with words. It answers with quiet. The quiet says, breathe. So the traveler breathes. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. The stone is cool beneath the bedding. The cloak is warm enough. The lamp flame moves gently. The traveler listens to distant water. After a while, thoughts become less sharp. The road fades. The faces fade. The worry fades. There is only the body lying down, the night air, and the soft presence of the sacred place. Then sleep comes. Not all at once. Just gradually. Like a tide rising over sand. In the dream, the traveler is walking through the same sanctuary, but it is filled with morning light. Everything is quiet. No one else is there. The columns shine softly. A spring flows where no spring had been before. Beside the spring stands a calm figure with a staff. The traveler is not afraid. The figure does not speak at first. He simply gestures toward the water. The traveler kneels and drinks. The water is cool, clear, and very still. Then the figure says only a few words. Return slowly. Live gently. Do not forget the water. And then the dream changes. The traveler sees home, but quieter than before. The same doorway. The same table. The same cup. The same morning light on the wall. But everything feels less heavy. When the traveler wakes, dawn is just beginning. For a moment, they do not move. They hold the dream carefully. Return slowly. Live gently. Do not forget the water. In the morning, perhaps a temple attendant listens and gives advice. Bathe for several days. Rest. Drink clean water. Walk in the early light. Give thanks to the God. The advice is simple. But sometimes simple advice becomes powerful because it comes wrapped in meaning. The traveler leaves an offering. They step out into the morning. The sanctuary is no longer only a place they visited. It has become part of their inner landscape. Years later, perhaps when life grows loud, they will remember that night. The lamp, the column, the water, the dream. Return slowly. Live gently. Do not forget the water. This imagined pilgrim is not recorded in any inscription. No historian knows their name. But thousands like them must have existed. People who came, slept, dreamed, and returned to daily life carrying something quiet within them. And perhaps that is one of the reasons these sleep temples still fascinate us. They preserve the human wish to be comforted by the night. Not entertained. Not distracted. Comforted. In modern life, dreams are often treated as private fragments. We wake, we forget, we hurry on. But in the ancient sanctuary, the dream had a place to land. It could be spoken aloud. It could be received. It could be interpreted. It could become part of a ritual of healing. The morning after a dream mattered. What did you see? How did it feel? What might the god be saying? What should you do now? There is gentleness in that attention. To ask someone about their dream is to ask them to slow down, to honor the strange language of the sleeping mind, to treat the night as meaningful. The sleep temples made room for that. They made room for the half-remembered image, the symbol, the feeling, the quiet instruction. And this room, this spaciousness, may be what our own tired minds still seek. A place where not everything must be explained immediately. A place where healing is allowed to be gradual. A place where silence has value. Let us move now from Epidaurus to Kos. Imagine the sea at dusk. The island rises from blue water. The air smells of salt, thyme, and warm stone. A path leads upward toward a sanctuary built in terraces, looking out over the landscape. Here too, Asclepius was honored. The island of Kos became associated with medical learning, with physicians, with the long tradition that later remembered Hippocrates. The exact relationship between temple healing and medical practice was complex, but it is enough for our gentle journey to notice that both belong to the same human desire, to understand the body and care for it. At Kos, a visitor might have felt the sea breeze, even near the sacred buildings. They might have slept after watching the sun set over the water. They might have dreamed not of a valley spring, but of waves. A calm sea. A boat moving safely. A bright path across water. A voice saying balance. The Greek world was a world of islands and journeys. Many people traveled by sea, trusting wind, stars, sailors, and gods. To come to a sanctuary by boat must have made the arrival feel even more like crossing into another state of being. First the rolling water, then the harbor, then the path, then the washing, then the prayer, then the sleep. Each stage carried the visitor farther from ordinary life and closer to the dream. Now Athens. The city is different. Athens is busy, brilliant, restless. There are potters, philosophers, merchants, sailors, politicians, teachers, craftsmen, musicians, and strangers from many lands. There are festivals, trials, debates, and processions. There are children running through narrow streets, animals being led to market, and voices echoing between walls. But even in a city like Athens, there was need for quiet healing. Near the southern slope of the Acropolis, an Asclepian offered sacred care. Imagine evening there. Above, the great temples catch the last light. Below, the city begins to soften. The day's arguments fade. Smoke rises from homes. The sound of footsteps grows less hurried. A person enters the sanctuary of the healer. They have not had to travel through lonely valleys. The sacred place is within the city, and yet it is set apart. This is important too. Not all sanctuaries were remote. Sometimes the place of healing stood close to daily life, reminding the city that even among noise, rest was necessary. Even among ambition, the body must be tended. Even beneath the shining monuments of human achievement, people still needed sleep. The Athenian visitor might lie down while the Acropolis rises above in darkness. The city sleeps around them, and the dream comes quietly, perhaps of a stairway, perhaps of a clear sky, perhaps of a hand on the shoulder, perhaps of simply being still. No two temples were exactly alike. No two dreams were exactly alike. But the longing was shared. Across Greece, people came to the healing god because they wanted wholeness. Not only to remove discomfort, but to feel aligned again with life. Ancient Greek wisdom often valued harmony. harmony in music, harmony in the body, harmony in the city, harmony between human beings and the divine order. Health in this broad sense was not merely the absence of trouble. It was balance. A life out of balance could become troubled. A body out of rhythm could grow tired. A mind crowded with fear could lose its way. The sleep temple answered imbalance with ritual order. Cleanse, pray, sleep, dream, interpret, act, give thanks. Like a piece of music, each part followed the next. And the person, by moving through the sequence, entered a calmer rhythm. There is a lesson here that does not require us to share every ancient belief exactly as the Greeks did. We can still understand the wisdom of rhythm. A quiet evening rhythm tells the body that the day is ending. A candle or soft lamp tells the eyes that the night is near. A simple wash tells the skin that it may release the dust of the day. A few words of gratitude tell the mind that not everything is unfinished. A slow breath tells the heart that it does not need to run. A dark room tells the sleeping self that it is safe to drift. The ancient sleep temple placed these things inside sacred architecture. But the essence can still be felt anywhere. Even here, even now, as you listen. The room around you may not have columns. There may be no altar, no marble, no Greek valley outside your window. But there is still a doorway into sleep. There is still breath. There is still the quiet art of letting go. Let the day be washed away. Let the mind make its small offering, the plans it could not finish, the words it is still holding, the worries it does not need to solve tonight. Let them rise like incense and disappear. In the sanctuary of Asclepius, the sleeper did not need to stay awake to guard the prayer. Once spoken, it was given. Once given, it could rest. You may do the same. There is no need to hold every thought until morning. The night can hold some of them for you. Let us return one final time to the Abaton. It is late now. The sanctuary is deep in darkness. The moon has moved across the sky. The lamps are low. The sleepers are still. No one is performing now. No one is explaining. No one is proving anything. This is the hour when the temple is most itself. A place of waiting. A place of breathing. A place of trust. Outside, the cypress trees stand like dark brushstrokes against the stars. The stones of the path are silver in the moonlight. The altar is quiet. The water keeps speaking in its small, endless way. And inside, dreams come and go. Some dreams are remembered. Some are lost. Some leave only peace behind. Perhaps that is enough. Not every healing has to announce itself. Sometimes the body heals by being allowed to rest. Sometimes the mind heals by being allowed to soften. Sometimes the soul heals by feeling, even for a moment, that it is accompanied. The Greeks gave a name and a place to that accompaniment. Asclepius, the gentle healer. The god who came in dreams. Whether one thinks of him as myth, symbol, history, or sacred presence, the image remains tender. A figure in the night. A staff in his hand. A calm voice. A message suited to the sleeper. A reminder that healing often begins in stillness. As dawn approaches, the sky lightens very slowly. Not suddenly. The ancient night does not break. It fades. Black becomes blue. Blue becomes gray. Gray becomes pearl. The edges of columns return. The hills appear. The world comes back. One sleeper opens their eyes. Another turns beneath a cloak. Another lies still, not quite ready to leave the dream. The sanctuary receives the morning without hurry. Soon there will be footsteps, voices, questions, offerings of thanks, stories told in low tones. But for one more moment, there is only the quiet between dream and day. That quiet is where we will rest now. Here at the edge of morning. Here beneath the ancient roof. Here where the dream has not fully vanished. The road that brought us to the temple lies behind us. The road home lies ahead. But we do not need to walk it yet. We can remain a little longer in the stillness. The lamps are fading. The stones are cool. The water is clear. The olive leaves move softly in the dawn air. And somewhere in the memory of the night, the old sanctuary continues to breathe. Sleep in the ancient world was not empty. It was a chamber, a passage, a meeting place, a quiet sea. The Greeks came to the temples of Asclepius because they believed that in sleep, the soul might receive what waking life could not give. A word, a sign, a touch of comfort, a path toward healing. And tonight, as our story closes, we do not need to ask for anything grand. Only rest, only softness, only the gentle permission to lay the day down. Imagine, if you like, that you are still in the sanctuary. You are lying beneath a simple blanket. A column stands nearby. The stars are fading above the open edge of the roof. The air is cool and kind. You have washed. You have offered. You have prayed. You have done enough. Now there is nothing more to carry. Nothing more to solve. Nothing more to hold. The ancient healer walks quietly through the dream, but he does not need to speak. His presence is enough. The water murmurs. The trees breathe. The first light touches the stones. And you may drift slowly and safely into your own deep sleep. Let the sanctuary fade. Let the road fade. Let the names fade. Epidaurus, Cause, Athens, Asclepius, the Abaton, the dream, all of them becoming softer now, like inscriptions worn smooth by time, like footsteps disappearing from a dusty path, like incense dissolving into night air. The sleep temples of ancient Greece remain behind us, quiet under the stars. And you remain here warm, still, and resting. Breathing in, breathing out. The night is gentle. The dream is near. And it is time to sleep.